Revenue settlement systems of British India. First one is permanent settlement, which is also called as Zamindari system, which was introduced by Lord Cornwallis in the year 1793 at the regions of Bengal, Bihar and Orissa. So what is the role of Zamindar? So what is this system exactly? So here Zamindar has the ownership of the land, where Zamindars were made the owners of the land. And the Zamindars have to pay to the British, they have to pay a fixed revenue, okay, to the British government every year. A fixed revenue Zamindars has to pay to the British. Next, here the work of Zamindar is to collect the rents from the peasants. So here there are different lands. Okay, so that one person, that is Zamindar, will be taking care of all the lands and he will be collecting the revenue from them and giving it to the Britishers. But he will pay only a fixed revenue to the British. And he can be removed from the post in case of non-payment of revenue on time. If the Zamindar is not paying the Britishers the fixed revenue on time, then he will be removed from the position. Next, why it is called as permanent settlement? Because the revenue was permanent. It never changed even if the production increased. Suppose the agriculture, the crop has more production, increase in the crops or increase in the production, but still the revenue was same. Suppose they are paying 100 rupees. Example, okay, if they are paying 100 rupees, that was fixed. Even if they are earning more than that, they have to just pay 100. Next, how Zamindar? So he is how to become a Zamindar. Here big local elites or the highest payer in the auction or bidding will become the Zamindar. So next is impact. Impact of this system. First is Zamindar became exploitative because they had fixed revenue to pay to the Britishers, so they started collecting more money and they started accumulating more wealth. Squeeze the peasants to pay revenue. That's what. Same thing. They are asking the peasants to pay more. If failed to pay, the peasants lost their land. Okay, the peasants did not have ownership. The owner was Zamindar only. If they are not paying the revenue, they have to leave the land. Peasants became tenants and had no right over the land. Same thing. Suffered heavy taxation. Peasants suffered a lot. Many lost their lands. Many fell into debt. So this Zamindari system was a failure, but a benefit to the Britishers. Thank you. So the next revenue system or settlement is Rayatwari settlement. So it was introduced by Thomas Munro and Alexander Reed. At which place? At South India, that is Madras Presidency, later at Bombay. In the year, we can say century, that is 19th century or around 1820s. So why South India? Why? Because there is no strong Zamindari tradition in South India. There is no Zamindari system at all. Land was directly cultivated by the small farmers. Okay, if small farmers used to cultivate the land, they only used to give the revenue directly to the ruler, or we can say the king, whoever it was. So based on this old village system only, the Britishers also copied it and gave it a new name, that is called as Rayatwari system. Britishers thought that the direct settlement with the farmers would give the government a better revenue and reduce the dependency on intermediaries, that is the mediator. See, when Zamindari was there, Zamindar used to exploit the peasants. Okay, so here if there is no mediators, what will happen? Directly the revenue will go to the Britishers. And with the direct settlement meant that the Britishers could have a better control of record of land, crops and revenue. So there won't be any kind of manipulation. If there are mediators, they will try to manipulate, they will show something different than what is actual. Next is settlement. So there is no Zamindar involved here. Britishers directly collected the revenue from the ryots, that is peasants. Revenue fixed for a certain period and was very high. Suppose there is a land and they has to pay more than like 50% of their revenue, at least 50% was paid as the revenue, and it was usually high. Peasants were recognized as the owners of the land and they must pay the revenue whether or not the crops were good or not. Even during the drought or even during the famine, at any cost they have to pay the land revenue. Impact. The peasants were the owners of the land. They lost it if they couldn't pay the revenue. See, if the peasants will not pay the revenue on time, they will lose the land. Heavy burden during droughts and crop failure, because without successful crops, they will not get money, and without that money, they can't pay, and it was a burden to the peasants. Britishers has to incur more expenses because they need more officials to collect the revenue. Initially there was zamindar, but now they need separate officials. So this was an expense for them. But it is a very small issue for the Britishers compared to the condition of peasants. So again, this was a big failure only. Thank you. Subscribe for more. Mehalwari settlement. So this is the third form of land revenue settlement by the Britishers, which was introduced in India. So what is Mehalwari settlement and who introduced this? First is founder is Holt Mackenzie in the year 1819. What is this system? This is a revenue system which was revised periodically based on the potential of the land. That means how much that land can produce, and based on that the tax was decided, but the tax was always high. Okay, it was very unrealistic and very high. Next, it has joint responsibility. Suppose even if one farmer failed to pay the amount, others were responsible to cover his amount. Suppose there are 10 people, 10 farmers are there. If one will not pay, then the burden will go on the other remaining farmers to pay the tax. Next is revenue is collected here by the village headman. So the mediator here is village headman. At where it was introduced at northwest provinces of Bengal Presidency. Later it was extended to Madhya Pradesh and Punjab. What is the meaning of Mahal? Mahal is nothing but estate or a community. So it was a settlement made with entire village. So here the revenue is collected from the entire village and the collector of the revenue is village headman. Now coming to the advantages and disadvantage. So to the British it's always an advantage because they will get a steady income, collectively responsible so that they will have less defaulters. If one is not paying, others will be responsible for it. Next, revised revenue, they will be keep on changing the revenue based on the production. Prevented domination of zamindar. Because zamindari system had problems, they introduced this Mehalwari where peasants are responsible and village headman will collect the amount. Disadvantages is to the peasants it will be a disadvantage because they will fall in the debt trap. Jointly they are responsible. If one is not paying, others should cover the amount. Revenue will keep on changing. There is no concession in the case of floods or drought, anything. So it was like a system, a compromise between a zamindari and raitwari system. Thank you.